If your feet start tingling at night, if your hands go numb without any clear reason, or if you experience burning, stabbing, or electric-like pain that no one seems able to explain, stay with me for the next few minutes. What I'm about to share could explain why your nerves are under attack and, more importantly, how you can stop the damage before it becomes permanent. This is not about masking discomfort. This is about protecting your nerves while there is still time. Let me make you a clear promise right now. By the end of this video, you will understand the single most damaging poison affecting seniors' nerves today. It's a poison most people come into contact with every single day without realizing it. You'll also know exactly what increases your risk and what must change immediately, not later. My name is Dr. Ahmed. I've spent decades caring for seniors dealing with nerve pain, numbness, burning feet, balance problems, and a condition many are told they simply have to accept: neuropathy. One of the most frustrating patterns I see is how often people are given the wrong explanation for why their nerves are failing. They're told it's just age. They're told it runs in the family. They're told it's unavoidable. In many situations, none of that is actually true. So let me ask you one direct question, and consider this your call to action. Have you noticed tingling, numbness, or burning in your hands or feet? And did you know that blood sugar can damage your nerves even if you've never been diagnosed with diabetes? Share your experience in the comments, because awareness is the first line of defense. Once nerve damage passes a certain point, there are no second chances. Let me tell you about a patient named Frank. Frank was 68, newly retired, and still fairly active, but his feet burned at night. During the day, his toes felt numb. Every so often, sharp electric pains shot through his legs without warning. He was told it was probably aging, maybe circulation issues, maybe just one of those things that happens. But when we looked deeper, we uncovered something else entirely. A daily exposure he believed was harmless was slowly poisoning his nerves. When we removed it, the damage didn't magically disappear overnight, but it stopped progressing. That alone changed everything for him. Here's the question I want you to keep in mind. What was that poison? And how many seniors are unknowingly feeding it every single day? To understand that, you need to know something essential about your nerves. Nerves are living tissue. They are not electrical wires. They are delicate structures that depend on oxygen, nutrients, and stable internal chemistry to function properly. Unlike skin or muscle, nerves heal at a painfully slow rate. That means damage can quietly accumulate over time. Long before you feel tingling, numbness, or pain, your nerves may already be under assault. Now, this is where things can feel uncomfortable. The most destructive poison attacking seniors' nerves is not something dramatic like industrial toxins or rare chemicals. It's not even alcohol on its own. The most harmful poison is far more common and is often encouraged in everyday life. The greatest threat to your nerves is chronic blood sugar toxicity. This is crucial to understand. You do not need to have diabetes for blood sugar to harm your nerves. You only need repeated spikes. Millions of seniors experience those spikes daily without ever realizing it. When blood sugar rises too high, sugar molecules attach to nerve fibers and to the tiny blood vessels that nourish them. This process triggers inflammation, oxidative stress, and damage to the protective coating around nerves. Over time, nerves lose their ability to transmit clean, accurate signals. That's when tingling begins, followed by numbness, then burning, then pain, and eventually balance problems. One of the biggest myths in senior health is that neuropathy suddenly appears. It doesn't. It develops silently over years while the poison works behind the scenes. Let me ask you something important. Have you ever been told you're borderline diabetic, pre-diabetic, or that your blood sugar is a little high but nothing to worry about? That is often where nerve damage begins. Research now shows that pre-diabetes causes nerve damage nearly as often as full diabetes. The difference is that most people with pre-diabetes have no idea it's happening. Now, this is usually where people say, "But I eat healthy," and I believe you. Most of my patients believe that too. That's exactly the problem. The poison isn't obvious. It hides inside foods and habits that sound healthy on the surface. Let me walk you through how this damage unfolds step by step. You eat something that spikes blood sugar. Your body releases insulin to move that sugar into cells. Over time, Those cells become resistant. Sugar stays in the bloodstream longer. Nerves, especially the long nerves in your feet and hands, are exposed to toxic sugar levels again and again. The tiny blood vessels feeding those nerves become damaged. Oxygen delivery drops. Nerves slowly begin to starve. Because this happens gradually, people don't connect the dots. They say it came out of nowhere, when in reality it's been building for years. Here's another critical question. If blood sugar toxicity is so harmful, why doesn't every senior with high blood sugar develop neuropathy? The answer lies in frequency, duration, and nerve resilience. Some nerves tolerate abuse longer than others. But once damage crosses a certain threshold, symptoms appear and often accelerate quickly. Now let's talk about where this poison shows up in everyday life. The first major source is liquid sugar. Fruit juice, sweetened coffee drinks, sports drinks, and even so-called healthy smoothies. Liquid sugar enters the bloodstream incredibly fast because there's no fiber to slow absorption. This creates sharp spikes that directly injure nerves. Seniors are often told juice is easy nutrition, but in reality, it's one of the fastest ways to damage nerve tissue. The second major source is refined carbohydrates eaten by themselves. Bread, cereal, crackers, rice, pasta, especially when consumed without protein or fat. These foods break down into sugar rapidly. Seniors are often advised to eat foods that are easy to digest, but easy digestion often means rapid sugar release. That sugar ends up flooding the bloodstream and bathing nerve tissue. The third source is constant snacking. When insulin remains elevated all day, nerves never get a chance to recover. This is why grazing throughout the day is particularly harmful for nerve health. Nerves require stability to survive, and constant sugar exposure keeps them inflamed. Here's something most people are never told. Certain medications can quietly worsen nerve damage by interfering with nutrient absorption, especially B vitamins. Some acid-blocking medications, diabetes drugs, and cholesterol medications can deplete vitamin B12 over time. B12 is essential for maintaining the protective coating around nerves. Without it, nerves become fragile and misfire. Let me tell you about Susan. She had numb feet for years. Doctors blamed age. When we checked her nutrient levels, she was severely deficient in B12. The cause wasn't her diet. It was a medication she had taken faithfully for years. Once the deficiency was corrected, her nerve damage stopped progressing. It didn't reverse, but it stopped, and that changed her future. Neuropathy is rarely caused by a single factor. It's usually a combination of blood sugar toxicity, inflammation, nutrient depletion, and poor circulation. But blood sugar toxicity is the accelerant. It's the gasoline poured on the fire. This matters because nerves have a tipping point. Early damage may cause tingling or mild numbness. Later damage leads to pain, balance issues, falls, and loss of independence. Once nerves die, regeneration is extremely difficult. That's why stopping the poison early is so important. Here's what I want you to hear clearly. Neuropathy is not always reversible, but in many cases, it is preventable from getting worse. Preserving function can preserve your quality of life. Which brings us to the most important question. If blood sugar toxicity is the poison, what neutralizes it? What protects nerves? And what simple changes can seniors make to stop nerve damage from progressing? Now let's talk about the part that gives you real power. If chronic blood sugar toxicity is quietly destroying your nerves, what can you realistically do? Not as a doctor or an athlete, but as a senior who wants less pain, better balance, and more independence. Many people expect complicated answers, extreme diets, expensive treatments, miracle supplements. The truth is much simpler, and that's why it's often ignored. The first and most important step in protecting your nerves is stabilizing blood sugar. Not forcing it lower, not chasing perfect numbers, but keeping it steady. Nerves don't require perfection. They require consistency. Every sharp spike in blood sugar acts like a chemical burn to nerve tissue. Fewer spikes mean less damage, and that alone can slow or stop progression. Here is the single most important rule I teach seniors with neuropathy. Never eat carbohydrates by themselves. Not fruit, not bread, not cereal, not crackers. Carbohydrates eaten alone hit the bloodstream too quickly. Blood sugar rises sharply, insulin surges, and nerve repair shuts down. But when carbohydrates are paired with protein or healthy fat, absorption slows dramatically. The same food that damages nerves when eaten alone becomes far safer when eaten correctly. This rule explains why some seniors develop severe neuropathy while others don't, even with similar diets. It's not always what you eat, it's how you eat it. Let me give you a real example. James, age 74, came to me because his legs felt weak and unsteady by early afternoon. His feet burned at night and his toes were numb during the day. He believed he was eating clean. Every morning, he drank a fruit smoothie made with banana, mango, juice, and yogurt. What he didn't realize was that the liquid sugar hit his bloodstream before his muscles and nerves had any protection. We removed the smoothie, replaced it with eggs and vegetables in the morning, and moved a small portion of fruit to later in the day after meals. Within weeks, his nerve pain eased, his balance improved, and his energy lasted longer. Nothing magical happened. We simply stopped poisoning his nerves. The second major step is eliminating liquid sugar completely. No juice, no sweetened beverages, no smoothies. Even 100% natural juice is pure sugar without fiber. Fiber slows absorption and protects nerves. Without it, sugar hits fast and hard. Seniors often drink juice because it's easy and recommended, but it's one of the quickest ways to worsen neuropathy. If you want fruit, eat it whole, in small amounts, and never on an empty stomach. Fruit after meals is far safer than fruit alone. The third step is nutrient protection, and this is critical. Nerves require specific nutrients to maintain their structure and function. Vitamin B12 is at the top of that list. It's essential for maintaining the protective myelin coating around nerves. Without enough B12, nerves become exposed and unstable. Many seniors are deficient without knowing it, especially those on acid blockers or long-term medications. But B12 isn't the only nutrient involved. Magnesium supports nerve signaling and reduces cramping and twitching. Folate works alongside B12 to protect nerve tissue. Alpha-lipoic acid helps reduce oxidative stress in nerves and has been shown to improve neuropathy symptoms in some individuals. These nutrients don't cure nerve damage, but they help stabilize and protect what remains. Here's an important warning: more is not better. Some vitamins, especially high doses of B6, can actually worsen nerve damage if taken incorrectly. This is why testing and proper guidance matter. Guessing can be harmful. The fourth step is reducing chronic inflammation. Inflammation sensitizes nerves and amplifies pain signals, turning mild irritation into severe burning or stabbing pain. Highly processed foods, refined seed oils, and excess sugar fuel inflammation. In contrast, foods like fatty fish, olive oil, vegetables, and spices such as turmeric help calm inflammatory pathways. Less inflammation means quieter nerves. The fifth step is movement, but not extreme exercise. You don't need intense workouts to protect your nerves. In fact, overexertion can make symptoms worse. What nerves need is circulation. Gentle walking, especially after meals, lowers blood sugar and improves blood flow to nerve tissue. Even 10 minutes can make a meaningful difference. Movement, when done correctly, is powerful medicine. At this point, I want to address something important. Many seniors feel discouraged when they hear that nerves heal slowly. That's true, but stopping progression is just as powerful as reversing damage. Less pain, better sleep, improved balance, fewer falls. Those outcomes matter. One of the most harmful messages seniors receive is that nothing can be done. That belief itself becomes dangerous. I've seen people give up too early only to worsen rapidly because the poison was never removed. One woman in her early 70s came to me using a cane and afraid of falling. She had been told her neuropathy was permanent. After stabilizing her blood sugar, correcting nutrient deficiencies, and removing liquid sugar from her diet, her pain decreased enough that she felt confident walking short distances again. She wasn't pain-free, but she regained confidence, and that changed her life. This brings us to a critical point. Neuropathy is not just about pain. It's about independence. It's about feeling the ground beneath your feet, reacting quickly, and trusting your body. Once neuropathy progresses too far, fall risk increases sharply, and falls are one of the greatest threats to senior health and longevity. That's why timing matters. Early nerve damage responds better than advanced damage. Tingling and mild numbness are warnings, not verdicts. Here's a simple plan you can follow for the next 2 to 4 weeks. Remove liquid sugar completely. Pair every carbohydrate with protein or healthy fat. Eat fruit only after meals in small portions. Walk for 10 minutes after eating when possible. If you haven't had your B12 levels checked, request it. Don't change medications on your own, but be aware of their impact on nutrients. Pay attention to your symptoms. Many seniors notice less burning at night, better sleep, and steadier balance. Even small improvements matter because they tell you the damage is not yet set in stone. Let me be very clear. Anyone promising a miracle cure for neuropathy is not being honest. But anyone telling you nothing can be done is also wrong. Real progress exists in the space between. Neuropathy is often the result of years of quiet damage, so improvement takes time. But stopping the poison is always the first and most important step.